Hello everyone! My name is Markus Olodyn Koskivirta. This is the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 18, semi-final number 1. We are beginning with a Poland versus Poland match, Shev versus P3teros. I'm just gonna go ahead and give the players the get-go, and we'll get the match going. There we go. Let's wait for the players to engage each other. We will join the side of Shev to begin with. The players have brought Druid, Warrior, and Mage in the case of Shev. So he has started with Mage many times during this tournament, but given that it's highly likely that P3teros has already scouted his previous picks, he might go with something else. If it is what I expect it to be, it'll probably be a mech mage. Very popular in the current meta, for a very good reason as well. Pretty consistent. Strong deck, and here we go. He decides to start with Druid, which seems to be a really good pick since P3teros has chosen the Hunter to go first. Let's spectate his hand out as well. Shev decides to throw all of his cards out, as does P3teros, getting Mad Scientist and a Hunter's Mark along with the Knife Juggler. The kill command not so optimal. Also the Hunter's Mark, you would like that to be in your game or in your hand later on. But the coin combined with Juggler and Mad Scientist is fairly good. We might have disconnected here. Nope. He just decides to throw out the weaker cards. Hadn't done his mulligans yet. Getting Unleashed and a second Mad Scientist in combination with that. A much better start now, along with the coin. Shev also not bad to get the first turn Zombie Jow combined with the second turn Wild Growth. The situation is looking good for him. He'll be able to ramp normally, and whatever P3teros plays out, the Zombie Jow is the perfect answer for it. Now this is interesting. Given that you can play your Wild Growth this turn, you leave your board empty because that Knife Juggler has to be cleared out. On the other hand, since you don't have a turn 3 play, you might as well go for the Wild Growth right now, hope for a better draw. And if nothing else, you can always go Hero Power Zombie Chow on turn 3. Anniotron, filling out the curve nicely. Probably gonna see the Anniotron in combination with the Hero Power come out. Both of them able to handle the Mad Scientist from the opposing side of the board. And when Mad Scientist pops, proccing the Anniotron's Divine Shield, if you get lucky you might get the Freezing Trap, and the Freezing Trap in return gives you the renewed Divine Shield for your Taunter, which really it is what you want your Anniotron to be doing. Just being a stopper for the opposing Hunter. Really nice, consistent, strong start for the Druid player here. Now when it comes to the Hunter's options, of course you don't want to use the Juggler or the Unleash at this stage. You are way off from the targets of Loatheb and Sludge Belcher, so I really do consider the only option to be the second Mad Scientist. Maybe even not run this first Mad Scientist into the Anniotron, just because you know there's a chance that the Freezing Trap will be coming out. To just play the Knife Juggler is also an option. The Druid might have a Wrath though, so you're always on the lookout for the worst possible option. To lose the Mad Scientist over the Knife Juggler to the Wrath would be better for the Hunter player. He is thinking about his options for an awfully long time though. There we go. Decides to take out the Divine Shield, and it is the Freezing Trap, so it is the worst possible option. We'll get the refreshed Divine Shield from the Anniotron, unless he decides to use the Anniotron to clear out the second Mad Scientist as well. with the hero ability, given that he doesn't really have many other options here. This... Oh yeah, the freezing trap will proc anyway, so he cannot get the Mad Scientist out. He tries to destroy the Mad Scientist, but of course it's impossible with this situation on the board. To replay the Annoytron into the Zombie Chow is a fairly okay situation to be in still, because you want to hold on to the Mind Control tech. It's a nice 3-3 body, yeah, but what you accomplished with the Annoytron plus Zombie Chow is much more likely to be paying out. Let me just paste the link to the stream for everyone on IRC. You might have to look at my Be Right Back screen for just a while, but don't let that fool you. And there we go. Didn't miss nothing much. Only the play from the Knife Juggler into the Mad Scientist. Getting really lucky. And the Juggler RNG right there. It's a 1 in 3 chance to get rid of the Divine Shield, and he does get it. If it hadn't hit the Divine Shield, the 1-2 would still be up on the board, giving you chances of handling the Knife Juggler and the Mad Scientist separately. Using the Zombie Chow to pop the Haunted Creeper in this situation is actually a really good play, because of the fact that you can swipe into the Knife Juggler, clearing effectively the whole board of the Hunter. And if you get lucky, the Knife Jugglers won't actually kill off your Zombie Chow, and you will be able to hope for another freezing trap, in which case you'll get to reset the Zombie Chow. So we are going to see the swipe into the Knife Juggler, or maybe even to the face and then shapeshift out the Knife Juggler. That's also an option right now. It's really aggressive, and as a Druid player right now, you don't need to be that aggressive. You will be playing down the Engine of War on turn 7 as a 5/10 taunt. You have a nice wall between you and the Hunter, so there's no reason to take the extra 3 damage to the face. Considering about playing the Mind Control tech, I would say that, yeah, it's an okay card in this situation, but the swipe is just in all regards better, given that you might get a 1-1 from the Spectrals and be unable to handle the board of the Hunter. What did we get? A second freezing trap. That is perfect. The only way for P3teros to handle the Zombie Chow right now, effectively, is to play down the Unleash, and unleashing just 1 for a single Zombie Chow is not an option. Lothep, usually a very useful card. Now when the opposing Druid has only minions in his hand, of course, not so great. Once again, the freezing trap getting popped, the Engine of War becoming a 5/10 taunter, perfect response against the Lothep, the perfect response against the Sludge Belcher in a way, because of the fact that you'll just be able to attack into it, clear it away. This will stop the Lothep from making any sort of aggression plays. And, basically, P3teros' hand is... It's good, don't get me wrong, but at this situation, Pro has no other alternative. It's just forced to play down the Sludge Belcher. He might have been better off silencing off the Sludge Belcher to not get the 1-2 slime, but on the other hand, I do understand just taking out the 3-5 and saving the silence for something bigger. The Hunter might well have high mains, Savannah high mains for the 6-5s where you want to silence out the 2-2s. Much better targets for the silence itself. If he decides to play Dr. Boom, this board becomes perfect for the Mind Control tech to start working its magic. We'll probably see a removal on the slime with the Zombie Chow first, then play the Mind Control tech into hoping to get the 5-5 or the 7-7 out of there. Hero ability, once again removing one of those boom bots. After that, it's a pretty good situation to be in for the Druid. Actually, it's a really good situation for the Druid to be in. When we think of the options not including Dr. Boom, yeah, you can silence down the 5-7 if you want. Which enables you to go face with the slime and Lothep, because currently they are both locked down onto the board with no option of really doing anything. There we go, Dr. Boom played. It is best for the curve, it is pretty much the best for the situation as well. There's Still a 50% chance that the MC Tech just takes a boom bot. So it's a risk, but not that big of a risk. Let's see, there is the boom bot, just a 1-1. Not that big of a deal. He'll probably clear out the Lotheb with the 5-7 taunter. Maybe even playing down the Druid of the Claw over the hero ability. Because the fact that you would only be able to play down Keeper of the Grove unless you innervate to the hero power. Druid of the Claw as the 4-6 taunter right now, in a way does make sense, since the only AoEs the Hunter is able to field are Explosive Traps and the Unleash. Unleash for 5, yeah, it is strong, but when you have the 4-6 taunt up, it's not that big of a threat unless the opposing Hunter silences it. And in this current meta, even with the mid-range Hunter, which P3teros seems to be running, I don't think the Black Knight is actually a valuable option, so the taunt is fairly safe to be played. Ragnaros itself on turn 8 would be a nice card, but not against this board. Way too many small minions to be even consider using it. The Dr. Boom, clear for the Druid of the Claw, probably the best option. Go for the Unleash the Hounds before it, to get the maximum amount of Hounds on the board. Fill up your board nicely. Personally, I would take the chance for the Boombot first. So attack to clear out the Druid of the Claw, then Boombot the 5-1, hope that it hits one of these minions, making life for the Hounds easier. There we go, P3teros agrees. And to get it to the face, that's pretty bad, because that 4 damage would have been able to clear out any one of these minions, enabling P3teros to use his Hounds efficiently. The fact that he decided to attack the Boombot first might be a small mistake, given that he could have used both those Hounds preemptively to take out the 2-2 first, which would have enabled him to get a smaller RNG chance to kill one of those active dogs with the Boombot's Death Rattle. On the other hand, if you want to get the best possible target for the Death Rattle, that 1-1 dog isn't that bad. Still, not a bad turn for P3teros, able to clear out the board despite the 5 opposing minions. And now, Shev's situation suddenly much more grim. You're stuck with the Innervate at this stage, which does absolutely nothing. The Keeper of the Grove, yeah, might be useful for something like the Savannah High main, but the opposing player doesn't have it. Luckily for Shev, though, he only gets Leok as well, so the Leok isn't a big threat right now. The Keeper of the Grove will be able to be played just for 2 damage on Leok. And the hero power. He could opt to hold on to the Keeper, though, with the MC Tech. It's unlikely that the second MC Tech would get good value, given that the opposing player only has 2 cards in his hand actively. 3 now that he drew 1. This Ragnaros wants to hit the face, actually, because of the fact that the 3-3 isn't a big threat. Dr. Boom, pretty much perfect top deck for the situation. You could innervate out the Keeper of the Grove, but it doesn't really do much. This attack probably should be aimed at Leok to enable the Boombots to do maximum amount of damage. It does save you from 2 damage, though. But it would also enable the Keeper of the Grove's 2 damage to remove the Leok next turn. I think he's valuing the silence much higher in this current situation, which causes him to hold on to it and not go for the Leok removal with the real Leok damage with the hero ability. On the other hand, it was pretty much expected that Leok would be used to clear out one of the Boombots, so you never know. This Sludge Belcher is gonna help stem the tide of battle a little bit, given that the Hunter has a very strong board presence. Once again, the Boombot's deciding to go for the face damage. That's pretty bad. Probably gonna silence down the Powder Destroyer to disable the 2-mana drop from it. There we go. This Sludge Belcher would be a very good situational card for right now. Otherwise, not if it weren't for the Iron Beak Owl. This will deny the 1-2 from dropping down, and the Hunter player easily able to just flood the board again. If this Ragnaros hits the minion, then yep, Shev is completely out of options. Maybe a swipe number 2. The second swipe would buy him a lot of time by killing off all the smaller minions and the Paladin Shredder. All the while the Ragnaros is just able to wreck the board completely. I'm not sure if Shev runs BGH in this version of Druid. He would need an Ancient of Lore to draw more cards. Maybe even an Hazard Drake would help. But as it stands right now, I don't think there are any outs. And Innervate, definitely the worst possible card. This is GG. That Ragnaros being MVP for the Hunter during this match. And we will join the next match. This is a best of 5. Shev versus P3teros in Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 18, powered by Fraktio.fi. We will be playing Conquest format, so now that P3teros won with his Hunter, he's not allowed to play with the Hunter again. He will have to choose one of his other decks. We might see the Druid come out again for Shev, or he might decide to choose to pick another class. Would not blame him after that last match. He had a fairly good mid-range situation, but after that full board clear by the Hunter, seizing board control and having card advantage, it's really hard to come back from there. Bad draws on the Druid as well, so to pick again into the Druid would also make sense. Any options are available to him. The players are making up their minds as we speak. The tournament is currently looking for World Championship point status. We do not have it officially yet. We changed the format in such a manner that the games are now fully in compliance with the Blizzard regulations. So I'm hoping, we're hoping, that it will be granted to us, but it is currently a work in progress. Shev decides to go with the Druid again.
For Doomhammer.
We're gonna add his hand to the view as well. P3teros going with the Shaman this turn around. The Mind Control decks ×2 in Shev's deck are gonna be a bit of a problem, given that the Shaman really does like its board control a whole lot. The Totem's working against it, the Hunter Creeper Pop's working against it. Shev once again starting the game with that single Zombie Chow into a Wild Growth, and we are out of the sync right now. So we will have to rejoin the match. We will join it on P3teros' side, since he won the last match. Let's hope this time the spectator mode doesn't decide to bug out. Swipe, double Druid of the Claw and an MC tech with the coin waiting in Shev's hand. On the other hand, P3teros used turn 3 to play down the Spirit Wolves, and turn 2 obviously for the Hunter Creeper. If he sacrifices all of his minions, he can go ahead and remove just Ascension Shieldmaster, but in this situation I believe that it would be better. Actually, he knows that the opposing player has and runs MC tech. Still decides to take the chance of just popping down the Totem Call. It is the best option to do with this mana. What next is problematic though. Do you want to sacrifice one of your Spirit Wolves just for the off chance that he does have the MC deck in his hand? Or are you willing to take the risk that he doesn't? Turn 5 would otherwise be a strong Druid of the Claw anyway. So to leave the 4 minions up is not that bad of a choice. Given that if he plays the MC tech, there will only be 2 mana left to choose from, which would just be a hero ability. Deciding to attack with the Haunted Creeper, make 5 targets, worst targets for the MC tech pop. The Wrath draw, on the other hand, makes the MC tech play quite easy and gets the best possible target. It's not looking good for P3teros right now. Had he taken something other than this Spirit Wolf, he would have had the Wrath right here ready and waiting to go. So it's not a very nice position for P3teros to be in right now. To play the Sludge Belcher onto this board is a good idea. All of the opposing minions have 3 hit points or less. It would be able to contest them fairly well, to go for at least 2 for 1, minion-wise.
I wonder.
Sacrificing the 1/1 to attack into the 2/2 is an interesting decision, given that you weren't forced to attack, and the wolf would have probably been just fine by itself, and you would have left with the 1/1 on the board, giving you some sort of presence for maybe Flame Tongue Totem action. If you're hoping to draw into Lightning Storm right now, it still doesn't really matter if it's 2 or 3, because you don't have it in your hand right now. Okay, well, top deck the Earth Shock, maybe remove the Spirit Wolf with that. But I would really like to see the Fire Elemental getting played this turn. He wants to remove the MC tech with it. The Fire Elemental will probably get removed with the Spirit Wolf and the Sunshine Shield Master. But it'll still have done a good job trading 1 minion for 3 minions. Getting rid of some of those taunts. And it's perfect on the curve as well. Nothing worthy of a Hex being played yet. The second Druid of the Claw, very good option. Maybe even hold on to the Anarotron for now. On the other hand, there's no reason not to play it, since you're only on 3 minions right now. Nothing too major to lose, and it does have the Divine Shield to back it up. If he hadn't drawn into the Sludge Belcher this turn, P3teros would have been in a really bad position. The Feral Spirits would have been a bit clunky, combined with Totem Call. It would just been 5 mana and nothing else. Maybe Earth Shock down onto the Anarotron, but it's quite likely he will play the Sludge Belcher into the Hero Power this turn. Hey, excuse me, just have to take a small water break every now and then. Now that the Divine Shield is up, it will be able to combine itself with the attack from the 4/6 to remove the Sludge Belcher threat completely. He could also just opt out to go for the swipe first, in which case one might even consider silencing the Sludge Belcher first with the Keeper of the Grove. On the other hand, it is just a 1/2. You have the minions on the board, able to deal with it. You will attack with the 4/6, so just in case the Shaman does draw into his AoE Lightning Storm, this guy is still out of range. 1 damage would have pushed him down to 4/3. Totem Call, hoping for the spell damage totem, more than likely for the Earth Shocks. Be able to clear out the Anarotron. Forced to use the Hex into the Feral Spirits just to stay alive. He probably knew that Druid was holding on to some sort of damage in his hand already, which he was correct on. Pretty much perfect draw for the turn number 9 right now. Able to curve perfectly into Dr. Boompa's hero ability. Deciding not to pop the Divine Shield is actually a really good choice. Once again, just to make the Lightning Storm that much more harder. If he doesn't get the Spell Power Totem, nope, it's gonna be GG, game over. GPQ, you might be right. I have no comment on the interesting decision. Well, with the PGH though, you are able to clear out the 7/7 threat and double Earth Shockwave, both boom bots. Might have spoken a little bit too soon. I forgot about the big game hunter option in his hand, to be honest. Read the chat a little bit. The score right now is 1-0 for P3teros. He has won one match with his hunter versus Shev's druid.
I must safeguard the living.
Keeper able to clear out the taunt, pushing down Lothep, taking out any sort of spell synergy for the upcoming turn. Basically meaning that this Hex is unplayable. Might be forced to use Alakir just to clear out this Frog. Combine that with the Totem Call. Use this Big Game Hunter to clear out the Druid of the Claw. Just so you don't... Actually, use it to clear out the Keeper of the Grove and attack with Alakir into the Druid of the Claw. Just so you don't die. And even then, 2 damage from the Druid will kill you off. Shev is holding on to just an Innervate, but any sort of direct damage spell like Druid's Swipe would right now end the game. It is still possible for the Shaman to come out of this. It is very much possible. Just takes a little bit of luck. Maybe if he's running... there we go. That's the Swipe. First, use the Lothep to clear out the Alakir. Or just use the Swipe to clear out the Alakir with the hero ability. Go for 5 to the face, that's better. You get more damage out of it this way. If you had gone for the Lothep attack, you would have left the opposing player at 3, I believe. Yep. The Taunt Totem might buy him some time, combined with the Hex. There are no more direct damage spells. I don't think he runs Starfire. It would have to be minion-based damage. Leaving the Shaman at 1 hit point. It is still possible, don't get me wrong. If P3teros gets into a situation where all of the totems he gets will be guaranteed Taunt Totems. He can just renew the Taunt Totem and the Manatite Totem to draw into cards this turn. That's very good. He will have to sacrifice one of his totems more than likely with the Rockbiter weapon into the 3/3. Use the 2/3 to clear out the Hexed Taunt Totem. And then pop down the 1/1. There we go. What would be in the Druid's arsenal that would be able to go through the taunt? It would need to be a spell. Maybe even a Mad Bomber itself. Zombie Chow, definitely not a card you want to see. This is basically unplayable right now. Because of the fact that the opposing player can just clear out the Zombie Chow, heal up to 6, and you're losing the game much more after that. Just pop the Fire Elemental, pop the Spell Power Totem, or maybe not even pop the Spell Power Totem. The only advantage to having the Spell Power Totem down would be the fact that you would be able to renew the Taunt Totem every turn. So there we go. He wants to opt for the bigger value minions instead of the more aggressive play. There's the Ancient Lore he needed for the card draw. Second Innervate does nothing. Wrath will probably be used next turn to take out the Manatite Totem or cycle for more cards. Flame Tongue Totem. Now the option for P3teros, does he clear out this Ancient Lore using the Flame Tongue Totem or just using Lothep? He could go for the Flame Tongue combined with the Defender of Argus to harvest Manatite Totem. Maybe just Healing Totem. That would be 3 plus 5. Taking him out, leaving the 2/1 Harvest Golem up. Taunting up the Manatite Totem as well. You can just utilize the 1/1 as well without using the Defender of Argus. First attack the 1/1, use the Harvest Golem, Flaming Tongue up the 0/2 Healing Totem. You'll have 3 taunts. You'll be in a very good, strong position. And you can still keep your Lothep to go for the face. Activating the Fire Elemental. Not a bad choice either. This does mean that the Flaming Tongue Totem will not be able to be played, but on the other hand, does that really matter? Given that you now have the 6/6 and the 3/2, plus the 6/5 hidden. There is 1 hit point left on P3teros. 1. That elusive 1-off lethal for, what, 4 turns now at least? Also, Naiman, the delay is 3 minutes. We are playing with a 3-minute delay. It actually does make a difference. Not playing, we are streaming with a 3-minute delay. It does make a difference to complete turns. Doesn't enable the players to look at their opposing players' plays. Yeah, I was serious. What other options would you have than Starfire for straight up face damage? Both swipes have already been used. It's looking like P3teros will be able to turn this into a 2-0 straight up without much interference. He does have 2 big taunts up. The MC Tech might be able to steal the 6/6. Oh, steals 1 taunt. Then he's gonna need to play down the 7-mana Engine of War. Maybe even innervate out the Zombie Chow now. Because it is safe behind the taunts. Deciding to innervate out just 1 more hit point. It's good. It at least gets you some use out of the innervates. And not playing the Zombie Chow just in case the opposing player does have something like a Crackle. Or even the Lightning Storm. Not having seen any of them pretty much guarantees there's at least one of them in his hand right now. Is this lethal? Let's count. 6. Yeah, this is lethal. Way past lethal, actually. He has the option of using the Crackle to just go for face. 10 damage on the board plus 1 needed from Crackle. This is it.
That was a mistake.